So there's a theory that there are three different kinds of people in business. There's the manager, there's the technician, and then there's the entrepreneur. And once in a while you see someone who's in business who's doing things a bit differently than those around them. And that's why I want to have this second conversation with Brent. I've noticed that he's been receiving lots of awards for innovation, leadership and excellence. And so I wanted to pick his brains a bit and see what he's doing differently. So thank you for being available to talk to me.
All good. Pleasure.
So the law profession is a centuries old, thousands of years old thing. And, you know, we were talking about it offline. It's quite an incumbent thing. So Norling Law, your approach is totally different. Well, from the outside. You started in 2015.
Yeah.
So why did you go out and start your own business?
And, honestly, I found out I was going to be a dad, and I didn't plan that. And so up until that point, I had made heaps of sacrifices in terms of like the financial aspect of my career, because I was in a role where I was getting just incredible experience, where I was just right in the deep end, and the money was not awesome, but the experience was. And then I get to this point where I'm going to be a dad. I'm in Auckland and it's expensive. So I was like, shit, what am I going to do? And so I really only had a couple of options. One was to leave my role, join a traditional firm, which didn't really excite me. You know, like having peers in those firms and hearing kind of the model and some of the challenges, it's not really in alignment with me. So I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to give this a go, and I'm employable. So if it doesn't work, I can always swing back. And so that was really what I did. And it was really scary because I came from an in-house role where I didn't have like a book of clients. I had one client. And so really had to focus initially on like, how am I going to actually get some clients and grow this thing. And so, yeah, I just thought, all right, digital marketing, how does this work? What can I do? Should I use Facebook? And, you know, talking to people in the industry, they were like, no, you don't use Facebook to get clients, it's not professional. And, I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to try. So at that time I had heaps of capacity. And so I spent a lot of time educating myself on how digital marketing works and how you can use Facebook to target people and like get them the right message, and just kind of went down that rabbit hole, and then started spending something like $50 a day or something to wasted money for a while. But ultimately learned how to do it. And it was really cool because, you know, you get a client, you do some good work, they're happy, and generally people with problems know people with problems, and I'm dealing with people with problems. So they're going to tell their friends, and so you get more clients from marketing, but also from previous clients, and just building momentum. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I think so. It's pretty cool.
So, my next question kind of is in a great flow on from that. Was not what I expected for your answer, and I love that. I resonate with it heaps, actually.
Yeah.
So what have you done to build innovation into a large, well-established industry?
Yeah. Look, I think probably just to build on what I just said, I think the way that we market is a lot different. So my approach is to just give a lot of information. You know, we produce a lot of content like videos and books and blogs, and we have free consults for people, and you know, I think that all just kind of comes back. Whereas I think it's starting to change in the industry, but I think generally a lot of lawyers are really guarded about their time, really guarded about how much they give without the fee coming in. So, like, I've heard of some people doing free consults recently, but then not giving the solution. So they're like, oh, you got to engage us and then we're going to tell you what to do, which I think is a really poor way to build trust.
Yes.
So, because it is about building trust, and I think it's an industry where the general public don't have a lot of trust in lawyers. Especially, they have trust in terms of the competence, but not around the financial aspects. I think is pretty notorious to get surprise invoices from lawyers and clients get unhappy. So I think that process at the beginning really helps to build that trust. Yeah. Some other things like internally, a lot of firms have budgets, and that's the model where if you want to get paid X, you have to bill Y. That creates a lot of internal cultural issues because let's say the partner quotes a job and it's 20 grand, and the lawyers spend 30 grand of time on it. You have to honour your fixed fee, so you bill the 20, but then someone's getting their time written off, and the junior will say, well, the senior didn't delegate it properly. The senior will say, you went down a rabbit hole. And so whatever happens, the partners usually just go 50-50 and you piss two people off. Because at their annual review, they're going to be looking at what did you bill, and that determines how much you get paid. So it can create all of the budget model creates a lot of internal issues. That's just one example. And
it probably ties in with what you were just saying about the knowledge sharing and those consults. Yeah. Everything comes back to those 6 minutes or 15-minute increments.
Yeah. And I think, so we don't have budgets. So it's one of the, I thought at the time when I started, disadvantages was I had to build every system, every process, every policy. And I thought it was a big disadvantage because it's a big time sink, as opposed to just inheriting that. Now with the benefit of hindsight, I look back and say, that's a massive advantage because I had to actually think about each of those things and go, do I want to adopt a budget or should I do things different? There's a few things like that we're doing different. Fixed fees, try to fix fees as much as possible because ultimately clients want certainty. And can't do it for everything, but there's a lot that we do where we can fix fees. I think fixing fees is actually good for everyone. So if you were to give a fee estimate and it was between, let's say 25 and 35 grand, and you, as an alternative, you said, I'll fix it at 30, the client wants the certainty because it could go either way. It could go 25 or it could go 35. 30 means someone's going to suffer a loss, but they'll always value certainty. And for a law firm, you win some, you lose some. But ultimately, if you're fixing your fees right, it's good for the firm as well. So I think that certainty that you can provide is really valuable.
And that trust factor again that you mentioned earlier about, kind of once you go to a law firm as a layperson, you sort of kind of feel a little bit at their mercy as to what what your invoice is going to say. And so, the knowledge sharing and the certainty of your invoicing where you can. It sounds like trust is a key value of Norling Law.
Yeah. I think just to add to that, I'm a big fan of people just playing to their strengths. And so for me, success looks like doing what you're good at and what you enjoy. It doesn't really matter what industry you're in. If you're doing those two things, I think you're more likely to be successful. Which means like everyone in the team should also be focused on what am I good at, what do I enjoy. And there are things that I'm not good at and I don't enjoy. But making sure that I get the right people in those seats to do those things is really important. And part of that is I recently hired Glenn to run operations at Norling Law. So he's a CIO here. I think it's really unusual for a small firm to have a non-lawyer running operations. It's not uncommon at a large firm, but it's been really fantastic to have someone who's not a lawyer because I don't think the problems that our industry has can be solved within the industry itself. So you got someone who's got other business experience coming in and applying that into the firm, which is really good. Doing like one-on-one coaching with each of the team, things like communication, where you don't need to be a lawyer to be a good communicator. In fact, do you think a lot of lawyers are not good communicators? They're more comfortable banging out this monster email and think that's going to resolve something than just picking up the phone and having a conversation. So to have someone in the firm who's role it is to like do one-on-one coaching and make everyone better, and particularly around communication. That's a core focus of us, because we're dispute resolvers, which means you have to communicate, pick up the phone. So yeah, I think that's a little bit different too. Yeah.
And then the result of that is a better client experience as well. So if your organisation is well, everyone's doing what they love doing, then that flows through to the client experience.
Yeah, well, because that type of resolution work is usually time and attendance. So the quicker that things can be resolved, the better it is for the client. So, I mean, that's our focus, is just to resolve as quick as possible, which means good communication.
So I've noticed through social, because I follow your content, you refer to the A-team.
Yes.
So what's your approach to leadership?
It's my approach to leadership. So my approach has always been a pretty open door in terms of, like, I'm here to serve them, to keep them going, as opposed probably to the other way around, where, the employees serve the employer. And so trying to just build everyone's careers as quickly as possible, because it's good for them, it's good for me, it's good for the clients. Yeah, I think it gets harder though. Like the bigger you get, the harder it is to be kind of available to everyone, and that's
Kind of be dad.
Yeah, it's
Office
tricky.
dad.
Yeah, and that's why it's good to have like some good senior team members to help spread that, but also Glenn to help with things as well, because that approach I think really works. The more people are exposed to the experienced team members, the quicker that they're going to develop. But the reality is, there's only so much time you have in a day. And that's where I've struggled recently, is, kind of scaling that. But, now I've got some good people in there. It's ready to kind of keep going.
Cool.
Yeah.
And, we're nudging a recession, so,
Yeah. Sorry.
So how do you look after yourself in order to maintain momentum?
Yeah. Interesting. I never used to be very good at that. So used to work a lot. But yeah, so more recently, when was it? Kind of 2021. I got pretty burnt out, so I made some changes.
Cool.
One of the things, there's a few things. So one of the things is I love fishing, and it's the only place in the world where no one's going to bother me. So like, I'm not available to staff, to clients, to my family. like no one's going to, I'm just going to fish. So I find that really recharging. So after I've been out fishing, I come back and I'm like, good, I'm ready to go, I'm fired up. So making like time for that, kind of like, every 6 weeks is good. And I think that everyone should have to build things into their life like that actually recharges them. And especially because what we do is, it can be quite a lot of pressure. And so you need to build that in.
Quite emotional too.
Yeah.
You're dealing with people in their crux of their feelings.
Yeah. And then create boundaries around things. So like, I just don't work in the weekends. I used to work in some weekends, but for me, I'm just like, no, that's family time. I can't go away for like extended periods because I have no partners. But making regular times to go away and have holidays. So like next weekend, I'm going to Bali for a week, that kind of stuff. I find that, really good to recharge. And I actually find I have some really good ideas on the business while I'm out of the office as well. So I usually go away and try to make some time to work on the business while I'm away as well. And then I have some crazy idea and I'm like, I'm bringing that back. And so I've had some really good ideas away as well. Yeah.
Cool.
I'd love to say, I go to the gym every day and do all that, but I don't. But, you know, I would recommend it.
You may have heart rate things going on throughout your day anyway, like you get your cardio through some heavy phone calls.
Yeah.
And so what's your secret sauce to success?
Well, I said that before, actually. Do what you're good at, what you enjoy. And that's helped me get very clear on the direction that I've headed in and am heading in. So, you know, when I started the firm, it was like, no, we're going to be boutique. We're going to do this and nothing else. And that's been, I think, a real key to our success, because it's been all sorts of opportunities where I could have like added in other things. Like I had a developer client and he had like 700 titles that he needed a lawyer to convey, which is a lot of money. And I was only like 2 years in. And then, you know, it was like assess that against my vision, which is boutique, specialised. It's like, no, I can't do it. Send that somewhere else. I've had one team member who we got on really well, values align, but he wanted to do everything. Like, he wanted to do general practice, you know, wanted to do what we do, but he also wanted to add on like conveyancing and trust, wills, estates, just everything. Which for me, I was like really clear, like can't do that. So, you know, he went and started his own practice. But the flip side of that is, you know, other law firms refer to us because we're not their competition. We just do this one area and then their clients go back and they're safe. Because if I did everything, they wouldn't do that.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, that's meant that we're able to really grow and scale a boutique firm, I think, a lot quicker than, it's a lot harder, I think, as well, if you're doing everything. So yeah, do what you're good at, what you enjoy. And I think you go home with a bit more job satisfaction, I think, if you actually enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, I like watching movers and shakers who are doing stuff even in an industry that's kind of in a league of its own. So thank you for talking to me.
Good. Pleasure.